today we're going to be talking about imagery. So imagery is really important for us as readers and writers because as you guys read books, there's always going to be imagery in what you read. And as writers, you want to make sure that you use imagery when trying to get your readers to picture what you're saying. So imagery is found in songs, in movies, and most importantly, in books. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today, imagery in the books that we read. So before we begin, have you ever been reading a book and you're just opening it up and you really feel like you're in that story and you're transported into this world? Anybody ever felt like that? Did you guys ever feel like that when reading Fair Rocks?
Yes.
Can someone give me an example? Mallory?
It was when she was in Miss Loft's office.
Explain. So, what did you imagine?
I imagined the whole sitting down in a chair and Miss Loft was just a Cheerio on it.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Does anyone have another one? Daisy?
So when she, Gucci said that her brothers were early, I was born early, so.
Oh, that's good. Anyone else? One last one. Jennifer?
Kind of what Daisy said, my brother was born early,
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of like Clara's brother.
So it made you imagine your little brother. That's a good one. So have you ever felt like you were experiencing what a character was feeling in a story? Like let's say Pharaoh was nervous. Did you guys feel like you were nervous too? Yes? Yeah, me too. I was also kind of scared of Dana. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to meet Dana at all. Okay, so before we continue, I want to ask you guys, has anyone ever read Charlotte's Web?
I've seen the movie. I've seen the movie.
The movie? Can someone kind of explain what Charlotte's Web is about? Who's read it? Aiden?
I haven't read it, but my sister told me what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about some people that lived on a farm and they had a pig and they wanted to kill it and cook it and eat it. And I don't know what the spider did though.
Does anyone know what the spider did? Yeah?
So it was like saving her.
Anyone else? Daisy? Yes. Yes. So,
Did you hear it?
can you repeat?
It talked to the pig.
Yes, so the spider talks to the pig in the book. I really recommend it. It's a really great book. And then maybe after, you read it, then you can watch the movie. But the book's always
Where's
better.
the movie? I like the book.
The book's always better than the
The
movie.
movie's-
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Alright everyone, so I want you all to close your eyes. Like seriously, close your eyes because I'm going to read a passage from Charlotte's Web. And as I read, I really want you to try to envision what's going on in the quote, okay? So close your eyes. I'm going to be watching all of you to make sure you're closing your eyes. So watch out. Okay. The barn was very large. It was very old. It smelled of hay and it smelled of manure. It smelled of the perspiration of tired horses and the wonderful sweet breath of patient cows. It often had a sort of peaceful smell, as though nothing bad could happen ever again in the world. It smelled of grain and of harness dressing and of axle grease and of rubber boots and of a new book. Now all open your eyes. So were you able to imagine what the main character Fern was talking about?
No.
Not that.
Yes.
So it smells underground.
So could you smell the barn?
No.
Could you picture the animals in the barn that she was talking about? She named a cow, she named a horse, she talked about how it smelled like rubbery boots. So that is using imagination imagery. So when you and the main character are together, you're basically going to hold hands with them. Basically, that's you, and that's the main character. So just imagine you're going like this with the main character. and you're alongside them throughout this whole story. So you are going to be experiencing everything that the main character is feeling, seeing, hearing, touching. And this is all created by the use of imagery. It lets us picture what we are seeing. Let's see. So imagery is when we use like very descriptive language that appeals to our senses. So imagery helps us readers picture or imagine like what we are reading. So it kind of like helps us create like a little mini movie in our head. And it creates the mood or setting of the story. So it kind of makes us feel like we're a part of the story. So like you open the book and just like step inside of it. That's kind of like what imagery helps us do. So there are 5 senses that a writer uses to appeal to us as humans. Does anyone know, without looking at the board, what those 5 senses are? Yes.
Taste, hearing, sense, and touch.
Yes, you got it. Wait, did she miss one?
Yeah.
Or she missed it?
So it was taste.
I said taste first.
Sight, touch, smell, and hearing.
I said.
So yeah, these are 5 senses: are sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch.
Taste first.
So first we're going to talk about sight. So sight helps us readers picture what we are reading in the story. So like if someone's describing the color of something, or possibly like the shape or the pattern of something, it helps us really connect with it and kind of envision it in our heads. So some examples that I have here, I want you guys not to close your eyes, but to kind of really let the words transport you. So as they sat on the soft, sugary sand beach, waiting for the sunset, the sinking sun shimmered on the water as the blue sky transformed into various shades of purple and pink. Next one, after Dana put on her lip gloss, her lips glistened, red like ripe cherries. And lastly, the puppy ran across the room, his legs twitching, and his owner knew he must be dreaming of the squirrels he tries to capture every morning. So notice how certain words help us readers visualize the scenes more vividly. So I'm going to circle maybe a word that helped me picture the first quote a little bit better. Let's see. So let me read that again. As they sat on the soft, sugary sand beach, waiting for the sunset, the sinking sun shimmered. Shimmered. That really lets me know that it's kind of like glistening. So I can picture that. What's another word that like lets me picture it better? Oh, blue sky. I know what a blue sky looks like. And what? Oh, various shades of purple and pink. So I can really picture a sunset, purple and pink, and the waves just glistening. I can really picture that with my eyes because I've seen it before, so I can connect back to that and really imagine it better. So let's tell it together. Let's look at the second quote again. After Dana put on her lip gloss, her lips glistened red like ripe cherries. So can anyone help me find which words really like allow us to picture what's going on here? Easy. Glistened. Yes. So glistened is like shining. So her lips were shining. So I can picture that too. Kind of like in the picture how when she puts it on, it's kind of like shining. And then you said red. Because we know the color, right? So kind of like your hair. It's like, yeah, they're really red. Anyone have another one? Ripe cherries, right. Because I'm sure probably when we've gone to the grocery store, maybe we've seen some cherries over there where the fruits are, and we can just draw back to them and be like, oh, so her lips are really red and shiny. Now, can someone come up here and find some words that help you imagine what you're reading in this last sentence? Anyone want to be brave enough to come up here in front of everyone?
I'm very ready.
Yes, you can come ahead. Here you go. Yes, the magic pen. Which one do you think?
I think he was the puppy running across the room.
So ran
Ran.
across. So as we read this, the puppy ran across the room. So let's all like close our eyes. The puppy ran across the room. Can you guys picture that in your heads? A puppy just running across the room, crazy,
Oh, I can see it.
excited, energetic.
I love this every day.
Yes. So with words like ran across and twitching, so twitching is like that, then we can kind of use these words to help us paint a better picture in our heads, or like a mini movie of what is being said. So notice how the certain words help us readers visualize the scene better. Visualize a picture. Oh, yeah. Okay, so before we go into lunch, this will be the last one we talk about. So hearing. Okay, so actually, let's just stop here because we're running out of time. I know, you guys probably want to hear everything. This one, and we're going to continue.
We were gonna do this.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Kind of ironic, but can we all put our listening ears on? Yeah. Okay. So hearing. So hearing is when a writer uses our sense of sound to like let us imagine like a noise or music or even silence in a story. So for example, like if you are reading a book and it says like, the rain was hitting the window, it sounded like bullets or something like that. Like it's kind of letting us know that it sounded like. So it's appealing to our hearing, something that we've heard before. So it describes sounds that are happening in the story and helps us hear things in the story. So as I read these examples, I want you to, look for the words that really help you hear what I'm reading. So you ready for the first example? The buzzing sound filled the air. As he walked through the wintry woods, his teeth chattered, and the leaves crunched under his feet. The children were screaming and laughing during recess. And I'm sure you guys probably heard all this because you guys just came from recess, right? So you guys kind of know what that sounds like. So when I wrote this sentence, I kind of knew they've heard this before. So I'm kind of appealing to your ears. Yes, like that felt too. So notice the sound. So depending on how the sound is expressed, it can enhance the mood, such as chaos, tension, and tranquility. So next up we have smell. So this applies to our sense of smell. So what we can smell, like a good smell, a bad smell, and it really triggers our memories and emotions. So like let's say you're thinking about the smell of a pizza cooking in an oven. That's probably gonna make you think of the best pizza you've ever tasted in your life, or maybe like the opposite. So some examples are the sweet fragrance of vanilla always reminded Reina of her mother's perfume. As the garbage truck passed by, the stench of rotting garbage filled the room. Sam woke up to the smell of burning pancakes when all he wanted was cereal. So notice how the vanilla fragrance triggered a memory for the character Reina. So let's say, how do you know that?
Because it said R.
Detective over here. You got that, I don't know how. Okay, then next we have taste. So this is when the writer appeals to our sense of taste. So it describes flavors such as spiciness, saltiness, sweetness, and kind of like the textures and sensations we feel when we eat a certain food. So this would be most commonly used to describe like what a character is eating and how they feel about it. So some examples, and I'm gonna warn you guys, these are really delicious examples, and I know you just came from lunch, but you might want to be eating some of these after I read them. Or maybe not, you'll see.
I'm reading it.
The warm donut tasted sweet with hints of vanilla and strawberry. My pizza didn't taste good at all. It was so dry, it felt like I was eating corn. The boy bit into the ripe peach and smiled as the sweet, soft fruit filled his mouth and the juice ran down his chin. That's pretty tasty, isn't it? I mean, and like the images don't help, right? So notice how the descriptive words being used help us, really get into those foods. So words like, where is it? Sweet, vanilla, strawberry, dry. So when I said it was so dry, we know that when something's dry, it tastes kind of bland. So that lets us know if something's dry, does that taste good or bad? Yeah, that lets us know that whatever we're eating is not very good.
On the pizza, on the little plate, the pepperoni had a smiley face on it.
Really? I didn't.
Go back.
Actually,
Look at
I didn't even notice that. So our final sense, everyone, our final sense is touch. So this can relate to textures, or how something feels, or how hot or cold something is. So an example, his legs ached after he climbed up so many flights of stairs. He could feel the flush in his face. He couldn't wait to get out of his sticky, sweaty clothes and let the cool, soothing water wash over him in the shower. A gust of cold air blew over her, causing her body to shiver. After she pulled the fuzzy blanket up to her chin, she was warm and cozy. Her knee burned after she fell off her bike. As she went to touch her knee, it felt like it was on fire. She could feel the blood dripping down.
That one was scary.
So notice the feeling of experiencing different temperatures, the texture, so like the fuzzy blanket, or let's say the fuzziness of my little jackets, and how the girl's knee burns. So if something burns, that's painful. So that's connecting back to our senses, our touch, what we felt before. Yes? We'll be doing that next, so you'll see. You'll get a chance. So right here is a quote from the first chapter of Dritta. I'm going to read it to you guys and try to see what you can see, hear, smell, or taste, or feel as I read this, okay? Our plane lands in New York in the middle of the night. At the airport, I can feel how hot New York is compared to the Balkans. Even the air feels different on my skin, sticky and wet. I close my eyes for a minute and take a deep breath. I think to myself, now I'm breathing American air. So this passage is an example of imagery. Can anybody tell me what we can see from this passage? Maybe you can circle that. I'll circle up here and circle something that lets us see what Dritta is experiencing and picture. Mallory. Yes. It's a great one. So what does that let us feel? Like which one of these applies to that? Yes, good job. So we can see closing your eyes and picturing a plane landing. You can all picture that, right? Good job. Let's see. Can anyone find one for feel? For feel? Does anyone know one? What happened? I couldn't remember. Great job. So with words like sticky and wet, I'm sure we've all played like soccer, or maybe we've been running and it was really hot outside and we felt like our skin kind of just sticking to each other and we feel sweaty. So that is connecting to us as humans. We've all experienced feeling sweaty. So we're kind of, we kind of know what Jordan's feeling right now at this moment. So with that said, what words in the passage help us imagine a 7. There's
Does it have to be a word?
be afraid.
Well, there are pictures.
Oh, so the pictures themselves of
And New York.
New York, okay. Jen?
And now I am in America.
So what does that tell us about? Can air have a smell? Does air have a smell? Did this class talk about this, the American air having a certain smell, or was that the other class?
Ooh, I can't remember.
Yeah, right.
They would remember if it was them, so I think it was the other class.
Yeah, 'cause the other class was saying like, how does air have a smell? So how can air be American air? And someone talked about how maybe they were smelling like New York smells and how it's different from where she's from. So that was maybe what she was referring to. So how does Judith feel about her new home after reading this? Is there any words that like let us know how she's feeling? Anyone else? Any certain words here that kind of let us know how she's feeling? Amanda? Well, it's different. Alright. So how about when she, Daisy?
I can feel hot now. Now I can feel how hot New York is compared to the
So do you think she's missing home?
Yeah.
Do you think? Yes. So how about when she says, I take a deep breath? So when we take a deep breath, it's kind of like maybe we're stressed or maybe we're worried about something, and when we take deep breaths it's to relax ourselves. So maybe she's kind of nervous, but she's getting ready to, start her journey in America. So next. Okay, so now we have another passage from chapter 1. I'm going to read it again, and I want you to have this in mind. My new American home is just an apartment, smaller even than our house in Christina. And everywhere you look in this new American house, there is something dirty and old. Walls that have the dirt from cooking on them, a ceiling that has pieces of paint falling down, windows that have so much gray dirt, you can't see from them. Even outside the glass, there's nothing to see except an old, dirty wall. So can anyone come up here and tell me which words let us see what's going on, or feel, or hear, or smell, or taste?
You broke it.
Stop breaking it. Maybe someone else didn't like you.
So words like smaller, dirty, and old are words that let us see and picture what's going on in the story. So from this, now we know that, Judith's apartment may not be that great compared to her old home. So, what is the tone and mood of this passage? Can anyone, after reading this, what is Judith feeling? Daisy?
It's like she's feeling kind of like sad because she doesn't see it's like not like her other home. And also like kind of surprised because she thought it would be better. And also like kind of dirty.
Yes.
She's kind of like disappointed as well.
That's disappointed. That's a good word to use. So now we know that with certain words like dirty and old, what can we say she feels about her home? How does Judith feel about her new home? Does she feel great about it? What do you guys think? Valerie?
She doesn't like it. It's like it's Like it's not that good to hold.
Yes. So as you can see, I kind of put like pictures of a dirty window, the dirty couch, just to let you guys see kind of like what Drita is seeing. So she's not too happy. She's a little disappointed. Oh, same So now that we've learned about imagery, tone and mood, I want you to look for examples of imagery as we read pages 7 through 12. And Mr. Kaczynski's going to take it away.
No.